Hey, good afternoon, Dr. Orlando. This is Brian Bailey, and I am submitting my week three assignment, number one, to you. I'm still having problems with Jing. I consulted Ashford Tech and OIT, and they still haven't got back to me, so I'm going with the next available uh, asset that I have. Okay. All right. So for this week's assignment, um, I play the part of a course facilitator, and which I have a group of students who are all across the country, and we are to talk about brainstorm different types of ideas about, for example, what is e-learning, maybe collaboration, social media platforms, and all them. And we cover lots of topics with that class. So, me taking the role of facilitator, I will want to ask several questions, and then I'm going to put forth to where you will take the place of the student, and see, and you can gauge if my questions will need further thought or perhaps more work. All right, so let's start with what is e-learning. Okay, I can speak from academic experience with my master's and my program through my master's in leadership and my technology degree. Almost all of my course experiences through Ashford have been through e-learning. Okay, and e-learning consultants 2015 defines the use of e-learning as the technology to enable people to learn anytime and anywhere that includes training, delivery of just-in-time information, and guidance from experts. Pretty straightforward. And for example, a training could be used by a corporation, the U.S. military. Just-in-time information would be perhaps where scientists can come together and video conference to talk about a new type of discovery, a new type of serum for infection, who knows. And also guidance from experts. And a good example would be you with your certifications. You are an expert in the field of educational technology, and you're guiding the students along with training and just-in-time information. Okay. So now, if I were the professor to facilitate the course, I would put forth several questions to my cohorts. I'd say, guys, which organizations really could you benefit from e-learning? Okay, and just to list a few, such as the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Marine Corps, um, corporations such as McDonald's, General Motors, Walmart, or even school districts. And I know here, and I can tell you here in the state of Florida, the Florida Virtual Learning School is really taken off, and it does help a lot of students who are more visual and auditory, um, who prefer the technology style, working by themselves one-on-one with with an instructor instead of the whole class or small group instruction. And then I would ask another question to my cohorts. All right, well, who would offer e-learning courses? Okay, and on what type of platforms? Okay, well, universities such as Ashford, Florida State, Penn State, DeVry, Phoenix, and even local community colleges can offer e-learning. Okay, so my cohorts in this class, can we come up with any other entities or organizations that offer e-learning or use e-learning? That's the first question: is what to define what is e-learning and where to find it and how to implement it. Okay. The second question is collaboration and work-related tools. Okay. So first, let's break it down. What is collaboration? All right. And having been an educator for over going close to 15 years now, collaboration is a lot more than sitting around a table and saying, okay, 2 + 2 = 5. And everybody is like, yep, sounds good. No, it goes a lot more than that. Okay. And I consulted an article by Ullman, 2009, and she points out that the hinge of professional learning communities, that PLC, It helps teams to develop protocols and norms. Okay, so have a protocol, whatever it may be. If you guys want to discuss ABC 1, 2, 3 first, that's their prerogative. Okay, Altman 2009 further points out that PLCs need a common goal. Okay, so collaboration is the hinge, the open communication, everybody being on the same page, and let's see, and which will consist of students, professionals, or other teachers, and having a common goal. Okay, in this case, the common goal would be me and other professionals around the United States in different time zones in different states, cities, are working together via video conferencing and e-learning, trying to create um, a roadmap, if you will, or a set of directions on how to create e-learning courses for our respective um, universities, colleges, and or even high schools. Right. All right. So, what are some of the related tools that you would need um, to kind of go along with collaboration? Okay. And again, we're looking at it from where students from around the country are working together, like right now, and I'm the facilitator, and we're trying to come up with a set of directions on what we need to create successful e-learning courses. So I would suggest, and then I cite George Mason University, who has a really good website on e-learning. I would like to suggest some of the following basics: a laptop or a computer with 2 GB of RAM, a media player, sufficient disk space, internet connection, email with passwords, speakers, microphone, a scanner, a printer, and any other tech requirements required by course facilitators. Okay, and so I would put this out there to my students. Okay, you have to have the basic necessities, but what other bells and whistles do you think would really help your students learn and retain the knowledge, and would perhaps help get your message and what you're trying to teach the students across to them? Okay. All right. So now the next question is this: what are some ways learners communicate, collaborate, and interact? Okay. And here are a few that I think can help. Okay. You always got to have an atmosphere of trust. Presenting yourself as with credentials or as a person of substance, and when you're not, just makes you more than nothing just a fake or a facade. All right. Be genuine, be real, and listen to what your coworkers have to say. It may not be to your liking, but again, trust them because they're there with you, and when they're in a class together with you, that's a sign of trust that they kind of know that, or they understand that perhaps you have a little bit more information to draw from in an experience or wisdom in a situation like this, and then they're willing to trust you because you have something that they don't. And in turn, if you are short on an issue, trust them, listen to them because they might have more wisdom and experience in a situation like this. Okay? All right. Other things to consider for communication, collaboration, and interacting. Okay. All right. Be broad and inclusive. Now, listen to all sides of the issue. Okay. That just that in itself, being broad and listening and inclusive and listening to all sides of an issue will lead to trust. All right. And a good case in point, and I've used this in a prior course. I created a math improvement program to help RTI 1, which is return intervention level 1 math students at the high school that I teach at here in Wauchula, Florida. And I created a professional learning community where I was the remediation teacher, so I reached out to several of the classroom teachers, my principal, a special ed teacher, and the ESOL teacher to create a plan to try to to promote as many students from RTI 1 to the levels RTI 2 and 3. And it was based on trust, communication, and collaboration. Okay. And then always remember there's the L in POC, which is learning. Okay. We all learn from each other, and we learn more from interaction with each other than just formal book work and classwork. Okay. All right. So, all right. All right. Now let's see. Okay, so what are some instructional design models that we can use um, for e-learning? Okay, what I would like to highlight one important one that we're doing right now is it's called let me see, consult my notes here, the blended learning model. Okay, e-learning consulting 2016 illustrates that the blended learning model provides convenience, speed, and cost effectiveness with the personal touch of traditional learning. And that basically says it all. Right? And that's what Ashford University does. Ashford University provides us with the platform and the ways and the means to attain our degree, where we can email our professors if we need help or if we need tradition, maybe insight. All right. So again, I ask my students who are taking this class and this training that I'm facilitating. All right. So I would ask you, what other models would you consider um, to use if you were, say, a professor or an educator with an employee of Ashford University? What else could you use besides the blended learning model? And that's the question that I would ask my students. Okay, say not all types of models fit everything. Sometimes you might have to take a flipped classroom model, mix it with the blended learning model, and come up with some amorphous experiment that might or might not work. But that's up to the educator and the instructor to decide what he or she wants to create. All right, so how can we leverage technology to enhance learning? Okay, and I want to point out that it's imperative for all students to have necessary technology to access their online classes and to be academically successful. Okay. All right, and again, I refer to George Mason University 2016, and some of the things you have to have are your computer programs such as Windows Media Player or Java, fast reliable internet connection, some of the technology, speakers, headphones, scanner, okay, and other requirements. All right, I would strongly suggest a scanner and a printer when you facilitate a course, because it's a good idea to print the student's work, to print your work, and to keep it for X number of time that's required by your university or by state law in case if there ever is an issue, say such as plagiarism um, or other issues. Okay, so again, I would ask, if you were Dr. Orlando, if you were the student in my class, what can we as a whole class think of other technologies to make our learning more successful? Okay, and again, I think we'd sit down and brainstorm. People would suggest iPads, iPods, Galaxy phones, Apple iPhones. So there's a whole multitude of technology tools out there that can assist us with e-learning classes, and possibly we can consult other professors and see what other students and instructors have done to help us create and model our specific class that we're assigned to teach. All right. So I would suggest to you guys this. The next question: what are some best practices for use of media? Okay. And I cite Davis 2009. Especially, and this involves with student or with online classes. Educators working with students need to think more about coursework involved, and teachers need to fit technology into the schedules. Okay, so basically, that's a dilemma that every educator in the United States, whether it be a public school teacher, a GED teacher, a college professor, it's kind of the logistics question of technology: who, what, when, where, why, and when. Furthermore, Davis 2009 warns us teachers not to be too friendly with our interactions with our students, because it causes a tightrope that is hard to walk. In other words, Davis is telling us teachers to keep it professional and do not do things such as show favoritism or, or allow students to develop an idea that you are out to get them. Okay, that in itself can create an issue, and it would be really hard for educators to defend themselves. All right. What are some other practices um, that we educators and students can brainstorm with on how to, let me see, refer to my notes again, um, for best practices of media use, okay? And I think one of the top answers would be etiquette or netiquette, as it's known as. And I will let my students come up with a whole different um, bunch of answers for that one, okay? All right, so now let's get into what I consider the real meat of the course. Okay. All right. What are some ways to manage virtual courses? Okay. All right. So we'll look at this as two ways. Okay. Let's look at it as me, the facilitator, offering ideas to my students. Okay. And I cite USC, no date, that suggests the students do the following. Okay. Participate in tutorials, practice active reading and learning, take notes, follow up, and ask questions in a timely manner. All right, and ask for help when you need it. Okay. Speaking from experience, there have been several times where I did not consult my professors for help, and I did not do very well on an assignment. All right. But one thing is when we get our certifications and become online educators using the blended model or whatever it may be, whatever classes we're teaching, whatever academic field, okay, we have to make ourselves available to our students. But we also need to stress to our students, hey, guys, follow these guidelines, and we're here to help you. We don't know if you need help if you don't ask us, okay? And that in itself can always cause dissension between the students and the instructors, because if we don't know, it creates friction. All right. So now let's look at it from another way. Let's look at it from the role of the facilitator. Okay, what are ways to manage virtual courses, and what are some ways to teach virtual courses? Okay, Betcher 2009 offers a couple of ideas. First is create a supportive online community with mini lectures, weekly coaching, and explanations and interactions with students. Okay, let's break this down for a second. Okay, create a supportive online community. So it transfers in where the students can go to their professors and get help. We facilitators are there to, within reasonable time, to answer emails, video conference, make a phone call. And there have been several times in my first master's degree where I actually had to call my my fellow students. I even had to call one of my professors on her cell for guidance for a project. Okay, and that was in my action research I was doing for my first master's. All right. Okay, so now going further down my notes, what are some ways for teaching a virtual classroom? Again, I cite Betcher 2009, and here are a few that she would suggest to us. Okay, set clear expectations. Do not be ambiguous. Be clear. Be concise. Be direct. Tell students this is what I will accept. This is what I not will accept. Okay, include a variety of experiences. Ask questions early in the class. I usually right on week 2, week 3. All my professors have done an excellent job on reaching out to the students and via email and asking, hey, how are you guys doing? Is there something that I can help you with? Okay. All right. Finally, let's see here. We have prepare discussion posts and invite feedback and questions. And just then to cite a current example, when I submitted my 2 weekly discussions for this class, Dr. Orlando, you were right there. Within less than 24 hours, you were asking me some questions on what I call logistics: who, what, when, where, why, how. All righty. Okay, let's see here. And something else that we facilitators need to consider when teaching in a virtual classroom: make the connection of using our work to real-world examples, all right, and current events. I mean, it's all fine to learn, formal learning and the formality of whatever it is, whatever we're trying to teach, but how does it relate to the real world, and how can students use current events, real world applications from the information they get in class to help make them successful in the job force. And that's one of the major reasons why, I ask my students who are in this mythical class that I am trying to facilitate. All right, in your fields of this, okay, what can you take from other scenarios and situations and apply it to your current work situation, help make you a better employer to get the promotion or to get that raise that you're looking for, okay, in the job force, okay, all right. And last but not least, choose a good closing and a final assessment for the course, all right. So again, I would throw the question out there, and I would brainstorm with my students of the course that I'm training them to create. What other ideas and type of assessments can we use? Well, considering that a master's program is a higher level order of thinking based on Webb's depth of knowledge, multiple choice testing ain't going to cut it. So you probably would have to say a research paper, a group project, an individual project, a lesson plan. So are some other examples that I would be glad to hear from a brainstorming session. Okay, so those are the major points that I made in my paper and for this video on creating an effective e-learning course. And again, it is up to my students to figure out, okay, what academic field that they're going to teach in, what type of model, what technology tools do they need, how they're going to collaborate, communicate, and interact with their students, okay, and what are the ways to teach and manage the virtual classrooms. That is my presentation. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you again. Thank you.